Alright, hello and welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to be solving the SpaceX API challenge. That's right, the SpaceX API. So here we're going to be implementing a class which allows us to call the SpaceX API and get some information about various space missions that SpaceX is involved in. So pretty cool stuff. And we can jump over here to this GitHub page, which is about the SpaceX API. And so we can see here about this is an open source REST API for rocket, core, capsule, pad, and launch data. Pretty cool stuff. Scroll down, we can see this is all written in JavaScript. We have a lot of contributors here. Nice photo here. So this is a pretty cool thing. And then we have some information on the API itself, and more specifically these v4 docs, which I have open right here. And so these are the docs for the API version 4 that we're going to be using for this challenge. And we can scroll through this and we can see some information, and we can see that some routes require authentication. Luckily, none of the routes in this challenge do require authentication, so we don't have to worry about that right now. And as we scroll down, we can see that we have all of these different APIs defined. So for example, we have dragons, we can get /dragons, or we can get a dragon by its ID, or we can query dragons. And all of the APIs seem to have a pretty similar pattern. All right, so I'll just leave this open and come back to the challenge screen, and let's go ahead and just make this full screen for us so we have more room to work. And so we want to implement a class which is going to implement this interface. So I'm going to go ahead and create a class here called SpaceX, and this is implementing our SpaceX class. And then I'm going to come back over here and we're going to look, and we have this base URL. So I'm going to take this base URL and I'm going to just add this as a private variable inside of our class, because this is going to be used for all of the requests that we're making. So we can just store this here as a private class variable. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to come up and select all of these methods. Okay, and I'm going to come down here and then paste those methods. And I'm going to select again, because all of these methods are going to have a very similar signature. So now I'm going to just go ahead and do this and create all of the method signatures at the same time. So these are going to be async functions like that, and we have some space. And so we want to have a try catch in here where we are catching errors in case the requests error. And if they do error, let's just go ahead and say console.log and error occurred. All right, and then we want to go ahead and get a response, which is going to be await fetch this.url. So we're going to put our base URL right here, and then we will need to add some additional path information, but that's going to be different, so we will come back to that after we finish this part right here. And then we're going to of course have const data equals await response dot JSON, and then we want to return the data. All right, so that's a pretty handy way to write a lot of code at one time. And I did this multiple cursor selection by holding the Option and Command key on a Mac computer, and then moving the arrow up or down, moving the cursor arrow up or down. So that's a nice way to make your cursor have multiple selections, which then allows you to type on multiple lines in multiple places. Pretty handy. You can also do that, by the way, if you have something that you want to select by selecting it and then pressing, I think it is Command D, and that's going to select the next item, which is the same. And you can see now I also have two cursors, and so if I wanted to change both of these, I could do that. So there's a lot of handy little tools and tricks like this, which allow you to have basically some keyboard enabled superpowers. Very handy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start with our get crew API, and we can jump back over here and we can scroll down. Let's see. All right, here we have crew, and so we can see this is going to be at the /crew endpoint. And likewise, we can see dragons is at /dragons, cores is at /cores, schema is at, land pads is at /land pads, launches is at /launches/past. We can kind of see that there's a pretty standard consistent way all of these different API paths are named. And by the way, that is part of what they're referring to when they say that this is maybe they don't have it on this page, but they say over here that this is a open source REST API. So we haven't talked about REST very much, but one of the concepts of REST is that you have resources all at a specific path. For example, all of these API paths here are all /crew. And then they are basically the different operations you can do are basically defined by the HTTP method. So for example, if you want to get different crew information, you're going to be mostly using GET requests. And if you're going to be creating a crew member, you use a post. If you're going to be updating, you use a patch. And if you're going to be deleting, you use a delete. But all of these are all based around this /crew resource path. Okay, so let's jump back here, and we can probably just go down and guess the paths for all of these because the naming is so consistent. So we can have /crew, /launch pads, /land pads, /rockets, /ships, and /Starlink. All right, so let's go ahead and bring back our regular sized editor and run our code. And we will see that this passes all the tests. All right, that's great. So just to see a little preview of what we're actually getting here, let's go ahead and get the Starlink data. And then let's just log out our data right here to see what the result looks like. So if we run that, okay, we will see that we get a ton of data over here in the console. All right, huge array. So here we go. It's a huge array of objects, and we have this one here. So we have quite a lot of information, and we still have a small bug which doesn't allow us to scroll this console very well. But you can see that we have all of this interesting information about, I believe, one of the Starlink satellites. So this is pretty cool stuff. Feel free to browse through this information and kind of look at some more stuff. And of course, because these are GET requests, you can always just take this base URL and copy it into the browser and make a request like that. And so we will see that we have these crew members here. And of course, we could look at the Starlink data as well. And we have the Starlink data over here. And you can see this is taking a while to format because there's quite a big response. All right, here we go. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. Well, anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this API challenge where we used the SpaceX API. Okay, with that, we're going to end the video, and we will see you in the next video.